Hello, this is TW. Welcome back. Before we get into the story, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. It's free and only require you to click on the button below. It would really help my channel a lot. Thanks. Well then, let's start by turning down the background, shall we? Today, we have a ProRevenge story posted by user SS Chapstick K, and the story starts now. Obligatory long-time lurker, first-time poster. Bear with me as this might get long. I'm also on mobile, so excuse the formatting. My revenge came in two parts, one petty revenge and one pro-revenge. Warning, the following contains graphic details of various kinds of bodily harm. If that bothers you, skip the background and just read the revenge. The backstory. When I was 19 or 20, I'm 25 now, I met a guy on Tinder. Let's call him Brad. Brad and I didn't get off to a great start, but I had no idea how bad it was going to get. At first, it just seemed we were incompatible, as he was pushy and rude, and I take no shit. If it had stopped there, I wouldn't be here right now, but it didn't stop there. Once I made it clear that I found Brad repulsive and wanted nothing to do with him, his messages took a turn. He threatened to stalk, rape, kidnap, and murder me, along with some gory details about gouging out my eyes and defiling my corpse. Particularly disturbing was his explicit desire to strangle me and watch the life leave my eyes. He also managed to find my home address, 3 hours away from the city we were in, and threatened to come find me. As a side note, it was my dad's house, and some small part of me wanted to see exactly how badly it would turn out for him if he showed up there. Of course, I warned my dad and gave him a picture of the guy. I also took screenshots of everything he sent me. The petty revenge. Being a young woman with no idea whether this madman would actually go to lengths to find me, I called the cops. When they came, they looked at the messages, told me it constituted a terroristic threat, but also told me there wasn't much they could do unless Brad actually showed up. They did take down his details, including where he worked, which is listed in his bio. This will be important later. From what I understand, the cops went to Brad's workplace to speak to him, and he refused, so they left. Nothing ever came of it. For the second part of the petty revenge, I found his Facebook. Again, don't put your freaking workplace on all of your social media. I snooped around and managed to find a couple of his family members. I sent them all the screenshots along with an explanation of what happened. I didn't hear back for a few days, but when I did, it was from Brad's mom. She apologized profusely on behalf of her son and told me they were driving in from Brad's hometown 3 states away to confront him. She asked me not to warn him of this in advance, and obviously I agreed. I don't know what became of this, but I hope he got a good Southern-style ass-whooping. Now for the pro-revenge. A few years later, when Brad probably thought he was in the clear, something jogged my memory of what he did, and I decided it was time for him to face some actual consequences. I made a Facebook post including his picture and bio, all of the screenshots, and a message warning people in our area and asking them to share it around so other women would know what they were dealing with. 2 days later, Facebook took it down, but the damage had already been done. 3,000 shares and many messages later, all of that information had made its way to his company's Facebook page. From what I understand, they were absolutely flooded with messages about Brad and his behavior. They responded with a stock message about how they were dealing with it according to their policies. This was disheartening, as I assumed they were just going to blow it off. By this point, Brad had been working for them for at least 4 years. However, I soon learned this was not the case. Several women from his company messaged me to thank me for coming forward and exposing the kind of person they were working with. It was through one of these women that I found out what happened to the good old Brad. He was called into a meeting with his boss, HR, and the CEO of the company. As a side note, this is a multinational company and the CEO is a woman. They did not take the situation lightly. Within 2 days of posting on Facebook, Brad had been fired and escorted off the premises by armed security. In the end, Brad got what he deserved, and now he has a massive blank spot on his resume, as this company was his first job out of college, and he can no longer get a letter of recommendation from them. As far as what became of him, I don't know. I never heard from him again, though I did get a message from his grandma telling me that what I was doing is illegal, laughing out loud. Okay, moral of the story, don't be a dick. Okay, so this story is kinda short, so why don't we read another ProRevenge story? This story is posted by user GTC Infinite. Let's start the story. So, my dad had an affair with his BFF's wife. Let's call her Jane. She claimed she was pretty much in love with my father, and of course her husband didn't know. I found out because once I got a Facebook Messenger message from a fake account telling me that my father was banging his BFF's wife. I actually didn't care. My parents are divorced since 2005. The problem was that someone unknown was sending my mother text messages telling her to leave my father alone, and many offensive things. We let it slide for a while. But then, those anonymous text messages became a daily thing. We confronted my dad, and he confessed that he was sleeping with Jane, but he said he was not the one sending the messages. He said he was sure because Jane's husband was also getting those messages. My dad was practically blinded by her manipulations, and my mom and I had a really strong hunch that it was her. My dad got so mad after we suggested it that he stopped speaking to me and my mom for a while. I also got mad, but much more offended because he would not believe me. I mean, I had no reason to lie to him. Still, I let all that slide, but then I got another anonymous message offending me, telling me I was just like my mother, and that's why my boyfriend had dumped me, and that we would be alone for the rest of our lives and things like that. Then I got really mad. I went to the cyber police. It is a thing where I'm from, and they tracked the source of anonymous messages. It turns out that it was her, and she was also sending her husband messages because she was so desperate for the truth to come out so she could be with my father. Although I think that just confronting her husband would have been better, what she really wanted was to distance my father from me and my mom. She was messing with my family, so I decided to mess with hers, and sent the proof to her husband and her sons that she was behind the anonymous messages, and that she was, in fact, sleeping with my dad. I also showed my dad the proof and exposed her on Facebook. She was a saleswoman, so it did affect her. Her sons and her husband were so mad at her, she had to move out of her house, and my dad broke up with her as well. She was left alone, but I feel like that's what she deserved. Well, that's the end of the story. What a broken family. I mean, it is so messed up that OP didn't even care anymore, that her father was sleeping with another person's wife. To top things off, it was his BFF's wife. This story is short, but from the information given, there are so many things that's messed up, I just didn't know what to say anymore. Yeah, I know that Jane is a typical crazy girlfriend type and all, but OP's father is a dick as well. You don't do that to whom you call your BFF. That's the lowest of the low betrayal. He broke the bro code. I don't know, man. This is the type of person you should avoid being friends with. I don't know if this is the right thing to say. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm really glad that OP is able to leave her father. Well, that's it for the story today. Again, please subscribe if you haven't yet. It's just a simple click on my icon near the end of the video or the button right below. Some people might ask, why? My answer is this. 1. It is free. I don't see why not. 2. You get an extra video every day to enjoy even though I'm not your first pick. Isn't that great? Even if you ran out of videos to watch, you still have me, sitting in a jazzy bar, waiting to tell you more interesting stories. 3. It gave me some emotional support to keep making videos, as it does get kinda sad and lonely to keep uploading without any people watching, you know. If you already did, please know that I really appreciate that. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time. Have a great night.